So hello friends and welcome back to the episode of Young Minds Unplugged. This week we are going to talk about another most important topic. I'll rather say a very influential topic, which is friends. So teenagers, they are influenced by friends a lot. We all know as parents, many a times we are worried. We don't know with whom our kid is hanging, or we are worried about what kind of influence the friends will have on our kid, and we want to know all about their friends. So what is it why do friends matter so much, and why is it that we are worried so much about the social circle of our kids? So let's explore this in this episode. So I'm going to take you to my son Avaneesh, and I think he will definitely can shed some light on this topic, isn't it, Avaneesh?
Yes,
because you have a lot of friends, as I know. So yeah, tell me about how important friends are. I mean, of course, friends are important, but you have had so many groups, you have so many friends. So tell me how is your interaction, and what impact it has had on your life?
Okay, so according to my experience, I feel that friends as a person, they shape you up the most. More than anybody, more than your parents, more than anybody, because you are the closest to them. At this point of life, when you enter your teenage years, friends shape up most of your upcoming years, and they're also, they influence your growth, basically. So friends are very important. And the type of people whom you call friends, right, like whom you make friendships with, so every person has a dynamic, and that dynamic as a combination, it affects you as a whole person.
Okay.
So you might, if you, for example, if a person has a group of 5 friends, then all of, like, at least one quality from every 5 of those friends you'll inherit, or you'll get inspired from that quality, and that as a whole shapes you up as a person. And it's not the same for us, but even for the other 5. So me as a person will also, my unique quality will also influence the other 4 in some sort of way. So yes, friends shape up the whole teenage years, and it affects our mental and physical growth in a lot of way.
Yes, I think I can completely relate and understand what you're saying, because this is the time I always tell parents, that when they're worried about the friends and all. So this is a time, like what he rightly mentioned, that yes, the friends take the front seat. The priority is more parents. Yes, the parents are there, of course, they'll always be there, but in this particular phase, which is from in the teenagers, the friends become more important for the kids. They start becoming their decisions, their discussions, their influences highly impactful on the kids, in this age of the teenagers. So I think the parents should not undermine this factor. Parents need to really get into understanding that what kind of trends they're hanging out, what is it that they're expecting from their friends. But at the same time, I would also like to suggest that we should not get too much into their space. We should not get too much into the space means, what do I mean by this is that, no, we should not be kind of asking our kids time and again, so what does your friend do, why is he doing this, what is he doing, and interfering into their daily activities or interfering into their daily conversations. Because I know I have come across parents who actually, when their child is talking to a friend, they will stand over there and they would like to overhear the conversation, or rather they will later on pester the child, asking that, okay, what was you that you were talking with your friends, and what is that you were discussing, please reveal the details about it. So I think that should not be done. So what do you say, Avaneesh, on this? What is your take about this point?
Yes, so when it comes to friends, they are your own friends, obviously. And involvement of parents, yes, there should not be a lot of it, unless the situation is very serious, obviously. But I would suggest that having friends is like, you basically then feel that, oh, I'm a part of something, right? You don't feel controlled, you feel very free. Like when you're with these certain kind of people, you're around this one, you create this whole ecosystem, right? You create this whole atmosphere. It's a group, it's a vibe. And when you talk to them, you share your ideas. It's very common, because, like, I'll give an example. So having friends of the same age will have you that, like, of the year, suppose say 2006. So having friends of the same age will influence you in certain ways that, oh, you'll think like them, right? The friends, if you have any older friends, so they are more experienced than you, like slightly more experienced, so they can share their experience and you can tell them your experience, right? And the ones which are younger than you, you can do the same, like share your experience to them. but in a like as in you're just chatting or like having fun. So it's certain, it's something like that. So people like my juniors, like people in 11th and 10th grade, they have some friends like that, and I have people who are older than I am, so they must be like 5 6 years older than I am, but they share their own whole point of view, their whole experience, not as a counselor or like as somebody who will guide you. They just share their experience and whatever, and in a fun manner. So it may be, or we'll go out for having a fun time, we'll go outside to some park or something, or like we'll hang out somewhere, I don't, near the street or whatever. So that time they share their experience and we have a nice chat.
Okay.
So I could say the same for when I talk to my juniors. I'll take them out for lunch or some other eating place.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. So here, actually, our kids, they create their own ecosystem. Like we have our own ecosystem as parents, as adults. We have our relatives, we have our peer groups, we have our friends. So in the same manner, these kids, they also create their own ecosystem. They create their peer groups, and they like to hang out. Like how Avneesh pointed, it's always good to have friends of your age. Definitely, that's there. It goes without saying. But you can also have some older friends or elder ones where you share they share their experiences, you learn from their experiences, and you also should also have younger friends so that you can share something as what he has shared right now. So like I was mentioning that friends, they have the influence on your kids on different levels, like physical, emotional, mental level. So why I'm saying this is because maybe in a group you have a friend who is physically fit, who's more into healthy eating and all. So the child may pick up that, okay, this is good, this can happen. So junk food is not consumed much and all. So that friend can be an influence which can influence the healthy eating of that group. Maybe then there's someone who is, kind of a very good emotional supporter. Maybe he understands the emotions. Maybe he's empathetic in the group. The person may be empathetic. So then the kids can go to them and to that friend, and they can share. Like I said that, yes, parents definitely would want their child to share everything with them. But then kids normally don't share everything with the parents, and that's okay, because there are some things they may not share, they may not be comfortable in sharing with the parents. Then where do they go? They go to their friends. So yes, the friends, they become a platform for them to share their emotions, to actually be what they are, to show their friends actually basically what they're feeling, what they're going through, and maybe the friends can help them also. So when I say that, yes, friends make a lot of difference, or they are huge influences in your kid's life, because this remains for a longer time. Like we ourselves, we have our own ecosystem. We as parents have our relatives, we have our peers, we have our friends. In the same way, your kids, they have their own ecosystem, they create their own ecosystem, and that is where that ecosystem is their comfort area for those many years. And that's why the priority turns to friends rather than the parents in this during this period. And they can also be academically very, very influential, because the way your kids study, the way that competition happens, maybe there's healthy competition, like how Avneesh mentioned earlier also, there's this healthy competition which is there. Now the point that we are going to actually come to is, how do you select good friends? Now I'm not saying there's something good or bad, but every human being has their own strengths and weaknesses. So many a times kids, they make friends, and some of the friends, they can be like kind of energy sappers, and some of the friends, they can really be like boosters. They can boost your energy, they can give you that high, they can uplift you. And there can be another type of friends where maybe they are due to jealousy, or maybe due to some other reason, they may try to pull you down. So now I'm going to ask Avneesh. So Avneesh, tell me, when you have so many friends and you've made so many friends, so how did you know whom to be with and whom to drop at times? I'm not saying that friend is right or wrong or good or bad, but it was just that your energy, your vibe, or maybe that person did not suit you.
Yeah.
So how did you deal with this?
Okay, so I had this group of friends, and when I was with them, so basically what the thing was that so my initial group of friends, we were a bunch of guys, and obviously when we get to this kind of age, we want to merge with the other other groups as well.
Yes.
So we decided to go merge with this other group of friends, because we were short in numbers, and when we became a pretty big number, one of my friends, he had a pretty bad past with one of the other group of members who were from the were from the other group whom we merged with. So they both had a pretty bad falling out in the past, and because of that, my friend, he was getting really, he was getting kind of bullied,
Oh.
and it was consistent. It was happening every single day. But the thing is that to maintain the whole, so I asked my closest friends, so like, is this a correct decision of hanging out with these kind of people? And they said that they didn't actually, what they wanted was like, oh, we need a bigger social circle. They were not thinking about, one person's feelings. They were thinking about the whole, ecosystem being as it is. But I thought that, well, you can't, well, the persons you have spent the most amount of time with, they matter more to me than some new people who have come into your lives just then. So I decided to help this friend, and just because of that reason, I realized that, so ever since I started helping this one, the other one started turning on me, including my own friends who were close to me. So me and this one, my other friend, he's pretty close to me now, we both got neglected. So I that time I realized, like, just because he was ostracized and I decided to help him, even I was ostracized then. But I know that I did the right thing, because at that time I knew, that was the only time when I realized that these are not the right people for me. They are only bringing me down. They're absolutely, they were never the right people for me.
Okay.
So I stopped hanging out with them.
Okay.
And ever since I've left them, it had a really good academic effect on me, because, okay, to be honest, it really did, because I did really good in, towards the 10th years, because I left them after my half of the 10th year was over. So the remaining part of my 10th, I after that I left them. So my academically my score really went up, because me and this other friend, we used to help each other, rather than like a whole group being one together and doing very dumb things. Me and him decided to help each other, and we were very true to one another.
Okay.
We have talked about this many times. So I just knew that he was not the right person for me. They were not the right person for me. I mean,
Okay.
so yeah, and even so, I basically got him out of that, and even he's really happy now, and I support him. I still support him. So
Okay.
I know that, and even he helps me whenever I'm in trouble. So that is a true friend, and that I identify as a good person, like, as a good person to me, because my opinion is obviously subjective. Now the people whom I have left, they're not bad or anything. I don't think bad of them, but they were not the right people for me.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I think this is what you've made a very interesting point over here. It's all about choosing people who sync with your energy, who sync with your thought process, who sync with the kind of a person you are. And of course, like he mentioned, there has to be always an give and take. Somebody who actually uplifts you and helps you is the person whom you would like to hang around with, rather than somebody who would like to sap the energy, or maybe pull you down, or maybe pass comments on you. Like what you said, Avaneesh, I would rather also like to bring up this point about bullying. Now, this is something which is very common now. We understand this is very common practice that happens, not to an large extent in India, but still the bullying happens. And I think the bullying which happens is not only on the physical level, it's also on the emotional level. Many a times, there are words that are spoken which really have an impact on the person's mind, right? So, can you throw light about bullying, because you've been with so many social groups, you have so many friends. So in your age, or your kind of this age, how is bullying handled?
So, like I said before, this one of my friend, he was technically bullied by all of these other people, but and it was a verbal abuse. Obviously, it wasn't very harsh verbal abuse. More than verbal, it was more emotional. It hit him in the heart, because it was really bad, and I could see that. It was even breaking of loyalty, because this one other friend who was even close to me, he told us, one day he gave us a really big lecture on how I am loyal to my friends. But when the time came, he didn't stand up for him. So I felt that no, he is a hypocrite. He doesn't follow his own word. So why am I to trust him? So then I stood up for him, and that's how bullying. He was really bullied during that period, and when I realized it pretty late, but I could still solve it, even though I realized it pretty late that this was happening. But I was able to still help him.
Okay.
So he's in a better position. But I wish I'd helped him in the beginning itself, because Even for me, it was like, oh, I'm with this group of people, so why not blend in with them? I was being a sheep that time. But then when I realized that, oh, I'm actually not enjoying myself either. So when that hit me, I decided to help.
Okay.
Right. Because I knew it was draining my energy hanging out with these kind of people. So for bullying, the best way to do it, like best way to handle it, like during these times, during this era and whatever age we are, usually bullying is not carried out to a certain extent where, there will be fighting, or like a lot of fighting, or there'll be a lot of verbal abuse. If one person just chooses to ignore the others and just leaves them, then like the bullying will automatically be over. Now I can't say that for many cases, because there might be many cases in which they don't leave you don't leave you at all. But I say that if you choose to ignore them, if they are, at least it's verbal or emotional, you have, like, now this will be very hard to develop, but you need to mentally strengthen yourself. So the more mentally you make yourself stronger, the more you ignore them, they'll give up, they'll lose interest in bullying you.
Okay.
Yes.
That's an interesting point. So I would like to end on this note, and thank you, dear friends, for tuning into this episode, and see you in the next one. Thank you.